We're live.
Well, we're live?
We're live.
We're live! We
We're
have
live.
0 views.
0 views. Let's hold for the audience in the chat room. Still holding. Still holding. Still holding.
Weather's been great, you know.
So.
Oh, Tim from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Why, he's got the same name as you.
Oh my gosh. Hello, Tim. Welcome to the chat.
Is that Andrew Michael?
Oh my word. James Christopher Cook? Well, that's so awkward.
You gonna cut this later?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I don't know.
We're gonna start?
You start.
Welcome to the Still Moving Podcast. We are back after a 10-month hiatus.
Yes.
It's been a long 10 months.
It's been 10 months.
We are here with our awesome friend, Chris Cook.
Privilege. It's a privilege.
And once again, this is your host, Tim Anderson, and my co-host,
Andrew Ridio.
and we are here in our new awesome studio, the Ridio Studios.
It is Ridio. Soon we'll have all foam padding on the walls, so it'll be like extra legit. And we'll block out this window so it's completely black in here.
That sounds great.
Yeah, it actually will do legit. I want to do those things like we do at the church. You know, those big
Oh, yeah.
where you put in the windows at the top to make it actual dark.
Oh, to like completely like
Yeah, I'm gonna black it out just so we have lighting. It'll just be better.
so that all the lighting would be the artificial lighting.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
that'd be good.
So real light can just go away because I'm never gonna leave this house.
Well, so Andrew and I have been planning to start up the podcast again for months now. Like we've literally talked about it. In fact, we actually met a few times to say, okay, we're gonna go record, and then we got involved in personal conversations that we did not want aired.
That's true.
And then
It just seems like it happens quite a bit. It
Right.
happens quite a bit.
and so we've been actually talking. We finally decided, let's do this on a lunch break on a Friday,
Mm-hmm.
and that way it'll be just easy to get it going. And then it's funny enough, the day we decided to do it is the day that the new Star Wars trailer drops.
That is true.
And of
Wow.
That
course-
is true.
Wow.
Of course, long listeners of the podcast realize that Star Wars is very important to us. And so we had Chris watch it literally minutes ago.
Yes. I'm always the procrastinator.
Well, you didn't even know that we were talking about it. Like you didn't know.
Actually, he did text
No.
me
I
an
did tell
hour
him.
beforehand.
I told him an hour beforehand.
Maybe
he
two.
waited. He waited till like 5 minutes before we were starting to watch this show.
I had to finish my episode of Game of Thrones, take a shower, and then watch it.
Okay. You had to be showered to be on the podcast today.
Yes. I don't want anybody to smell me.
Okay, I got it.
It smells nice.
Thanks.
Irish Spring.
Actually, it was Herbal Essence.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah.
Fancy.
So as listeners, faithful listeners to the podcast, you know, we like to deeply talk about Star Wars, about the world building that's been going on, about how, you know, about the new, especially about the new trilogy,
Mhm.
which episode 9 is going to be the end.
So in the just before we get into deep dive and we go like first reactions,
Okay.
it says end of a saga. Does that just mean the end of the 3? Right? Because in the actual trailer it says it's the end of a saga.
Yeah, I
Right?
think it's
Or is this the end of all of it?
So I read one thing today that one of the Disney executives said this will be the last movie for a while. So I'm wondering if they're ending the Skywalker saga
Do you think? How long do you think they'll wait and before
until they run out of money? I guess.
Oh, well, then they're going to run
It's
out
a
of
cash
money. Well,
machine.
because they just on Disney Plus,
Right.
right? And they're going to be launching content, Star Wars content on that.
Right. So Disney Plus is going to be like Disney's answer to their own Netflix, and they're going to be streaming all their, you know, pretty much all the Disney properties that they own, all the 20th Century Fox stuff that they just bought.
Simpsons will be there.
Simpsons.
Marvel will be
Right.
there.
Marvel will be there. Deadpool's going to be there.
Yep. A lot of everything. Well, their price
That's
point
interesting.
too
That is interesting, isn't it?
is at $7, $6.99.
Right.
Oh, wow.
That's a decent price.
Yes.
That's sick. Well, another thing to think about too is Disney owns 60% of Hulu right now too.
Well, so I've heard that they're going to bundle
Mhm.
Hulu plus ESPN Plus and this Disney Plus, so it'll be all 3 in a bundle. Cable.
So this is all just so
It
interesting.
sounds like a monopoly to me. Yeah.
It's getting close, but you know, we're talking about Star Wars, but we're actually in our own little kind of war right now in our economy. Is we're going to be hitting the content wars this year because Apple also announced their own service just like this. So, and they're launching with their own original content as well. So now you're going to have all these different silos of original content. You have Amazon Prime, you have Netflix, you have Disney Plus, you have Apple.
I don't think Apple will be as successful.
Did you watch any of the?
No, but I don't care to, right? Because there's not existing franchises
The
there.
thing is Apple is literally the richest company in the world,
True.
and they're pumping in billions.
True, but like
And
what?
they have Oprah.
I guess.
No, but they've had at their event last month. They had J.J. Abrams there. They had a whole lot of celebrities. They had Chris Evans there. They had a whole bunch of Hollywood, like Reese Witherspoon. They had a lot of A-listers
They have
there.
Reese.
They have Reese.
This has been
they have Reese.
Oprah and Reese.
Oprah and Reese. But Apple, like the reason they did their thing last month is they're saying we're serious about the content. Like we're working to get this right.
Okay.
And so I would say at the end of this year, we're going to have like the content wars. We're going to have all these companies competing for watchers.
Yeah, but see, I don't even think like, and I understand like that it's a war, but like having all of these streaming platforms is still cheaper than cable. So I don't think there's any war because it lives forever.
I think cable lost on this one.
Yeah,
For sure.
I think cable's done, right? Because if you can,
I hope cable's done.
I mean, yeah, that's true. I really do hope because if you can just give me content and I'll pay for no ads, I'll do that every single time.
Right.
I do. That's just who I am as a person.
Right.
Don't sell me.
Well, and really, do you really think it'll be a content war with the reach and the legacy that Disney has?
Right. Here's it. I think Disney. I think that's why they priced it
Yeah.
so low too, because they knew they could do this. They have the library, right? Not only do they have Disney, they have Fox, which 20th Century Fox has been around since the 20th century, right?
And
the early 20th century.
And not only Fox, right? They have giant like franchises.
Marvel.
There's Marvel, Star Wars,
Yes.
right? And they even own
Pixar.
National Geographic.
Nat Geo.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? That's just random, but
Yeah,
that's
they have a
fun.
huge list of properties. They have a huge library. They have they could bring down. They can get their millions and millions of
Yes.
subscribers on this thing. I don't think they're going to worry about it. I think Apple's in a good position too. Apple is already selling people. I think there's news last month that Apple Music has there are more subscribers than Spotify does now. So as far as streaming music, Apple's winning that game. And then I think it said 2 out of 3 teenagers own an iPhone in the United States now.
Went down.
And so if Apple, they haven't released their pricing yet, but I'm betting that they're going to be bundling as well, bundling with their Apple Music, bundling with the iCloud stuff.
Mhm.
So they're going to be in a good position also to like what with Apple, you won't need to download anything. It'll be already on your phone. Why not just watch it? Right.
Yeah, I
It's gonna be their
don't
thing.
think I hate Apple, right? It's more the sense of they have to get a really good property or something really interesting for me to want to subscribe to it, right? Because at the current moment, there's nothing. So it's like, why would I need Apple? Whereas Disney is a much different thing because they have all the content I already want.
So Apple's buying the content creators. They're buying J.J. Abrams, Steven Spielberg was there too.
True.
Like they're buying all the people that we know about. And so you're right, they're not going to have all the nostalgic stuff like Star Wars or Marvel, but they will have the creators, modern creators of new stuff.
Which might be a breath of fresh air
It could
because I
be.
know right now with the atmosphere that we have when it comes to streaming content, there's so much copying, there's so many remakes and so many reboots right now. It's really getting really stale.
Mhm.
One of the newest shows that came out on Netflix is called The Silence, and all it is really is just a knockoff of The Quiet Place. And so a lot of these new shows coming out, Netflix originals and this and that, are just it seems like everything is having to do with what else came out. So this was successful. Let's try to copy and make our own version.
But
of the same
that's
thing.
movies.
Yeah, but
Movies have
movies that
always
are
done
copies
that.
of other movies never fare well.
So do you think like the actual movie theater will go away? Or do you think it'll just be like big blockbuster film? So in the sense that all little films will never enter a movie theater, but in reality they'll just enter these streaming platforms, right?
I think
Because like Martin Scorsese,
Mhm.
he has a new film coming out on Netflix. Like it's called
That's
The
gonna be
Irishman,
good. That's
and
gonna be
it's like a really old movie kind of thing.
so. Anecdotally, like I have only been in the theater like 2 or 3 times this last year because it's like hard for me to get there. Because for me to get to a movie theater, with my wife, we have to get a babysitter. We have to like completely plan it ahead of time. You know, like for me, I'm all about I would rather things all straight release to Netflix. Because what are you paying for in the movie theater? You're paying for other people to like annoy you in the theater.
Well,
I don't know.
pay for the
You're paying
experience.
right?
Well, I think Avengers Endgame coming out this month is an indication that we're not anywhere close to losing the theater.
Like it's already
pre-sales
sold
and everything.
300 million tickets
Right.
before it's even aired, right? So like, I don't necessarily think. I just think it'll be for events,
Mhm.
right? Because obviously,
Where you want to go with someone else.
exactly. 'cause
It'll be
what
more
it
like
is.
what it originally started out to be.
I think so. I think it'll be more niche to where it's like maybe you even start
But-
dressing up.
But for these big properties that could pull big crowds to theaters, I wonder how much better they would even do if they not only did that, but also offered, and a week later you can watch it at home also.
But then everybody would.
Well, so sorry to cut you off, but so the DVD and instant buying, that'll go away soon, right? Especially with Disney Plus and all these streamings, like they'll lose that market of being able to buy the movie and owning it.
Right.
We'll no longer be able to buy movies.
Funny side note on that was that I bought The Office on DVD
Yeah.
the other day, and the reason I did that was kind of the same way that people that are not used to newer technology and offices and this and that will always have paper copies of everything,
Mhm.
right? Except it's my generation's version of what if Netflix ever drops The Office? I want to always have it,
I think they are actually.
and well, I hope not.
They
Right.
will soon.
But if they do, I have The Office all seasons on DVD.
That's true.
You want to make
There you
sure
go.
you have
I
that.
want to make sure, but I could have
You
bought
wanna
it.
lock it
I could
down.
have bought it and had it on my laptop.
So I buy things mostly on Amazon.
Yeah.
Just because I don't ever think I'll get rid of my Amazon subscription. So I'm figured, why not buy all my movies there?
Yeah.
But I think that'll eventually go away and it'll go all streaming and rights. Right. I think they'll totally eliminate being able to buy movies to where it's just specifically you have to pay for the streaming and you can only stream it. Because that's what music does.
Yeah.
They'll eventually eliminate buying music so you can just have a copy of it, but you have to pay for my subscription for that copy.
Right.
Yeah, it said 90% of the songs on my phone now are Apple Music
Stream.
subscription.
Stream.
Yeah, I don't think I bought a song in years now.
Well, they care. That's all they care about now, right?
Right.
Is how many streams does it do?
This
How many
is,
streams did it do?
where do you move from there?
Cool, because once they are really owning the content, right? Now it's you never own the content, so you can't necessarily steal it, right? Because they don't care that you're listening to it a bunch of times, right? They care that you're subscribing. They don't care.
Yeah.
So you're not ever going to. Napster will never be a thing again, right?
Yeah.
Because they've just learned from that model. We're just going to license it to you.
Hmm.
So they're doing is they're licensing.
Could
that
you
model.
have a pirating streaming service?
I don't know.
It'd be so easy to get shut down. I don't think it'd make it. I don't think it'd be worth it.
Yeah.
So you excited about Disney Plus? Are you excited? You gonna subscribe?
I'm very excited.
I'm hoping someone I know subscribes so I can just get the
You just-
password.
Oh, you may not should have said that.
you
That's
should've said that.
a criminal offense.
So I just canceled another streaming service in preparation of getting Disney Plus.
Well, we're still like it's in November. We're still like
I'm
7 months
preparing
out.
for it.
Okay.
I'm saving money so I
Yeah,
can
the
have
first year
day
paid out.
one.
It's only going to be what, $6.99 a month or
Well,
so?
$6.99, but if you want to pay for it for the year, it's $69.
No.
So it's like 580 something.
Not bad at
Yeah,
all.
really not
man.
bad at all.
Like that's a great price point.
But the problem is when they start doing that and other ones like other streaming services not so great as that start going out,
Like which ones?
they'll jack up the price. Well, obviously, if Disney comes into play,
Yeah.
eventually they're going to start pulling all their movies from Hulu and from Netflix and
Well,
from
Hulu
Amazon.
they own
Well-
66% of it.
Yeah. So
Well,
so that was
they
a big
eventually own the
deal.
whole thing,
Disney
they're
had for years. Disney had a deal with Netflix where Netflix got different movies, and last year Disney announced that they're pulling out of Netflix. We all knew it was because they're going to be doing this, right?
Yeah.
But Netflix, I feel like they've known that companies are going to be doing this, right? Netflix worked on this like literally 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Like when they created House of Cards, which was their first like big
Yeah,
That's true.
that's their new strategy.
Their own
Right? They're a
primary
network
content.
now.
Right. And now if you look at Netflix's release schedules, they're releasing 2 or 3 movies a month. They're releasing multiple shows a month. They're
They're good quality.
they're
a lot
great
of them are very
quality.
good.
Do you know
Some of the
what's
best stuff I watched
interesting
this
about
last year with
Netflix
Netflix.
is they don't view other streaming platforms as their competition. You know what they actually view as their competition? Fortnite.
Really?
Because they view
It takes the eyeballs.
it's eyeballs.
Okay, I see.
So that's what they view as their competition, is not necessarily, which is interesting if you think about it, right? They don't care about other subscribers, because if you subscribe to Netflix and you're there for the content, they don't even care who watches it, because one day you may be bored and watch it.
Mhm.
And now they care, they just want all the eyeballs, which is nuts.
That is nuts. Do you think Netflix will move into gaming?
They already started. They had that movie that TV show that came out,
Black Mirror, Bandersnatch.
Bandersnatch.
I forgot.
Oh, it was like you choose your own.
You choose
I haven't watched
your
that
own.
I haven't watched it.
But there's code in there, right? They had to create a whole system to map the video to the user input, which it's a game at that point. I mean, it's not a video game as we know it. Funny you say that. Google last month announced it's called Google Stadia, which is going to be like a Netflix for video games. And so you actually don't even need a video game console in your home. You just need to be able to have something that can access Google Stadia. The game systems are in the cloud. And so all that Google is sending back to you is the video from your game system. So your controller sends the data to the cloud. The game system's in the cloud. The game comes back to you.
Interesting.
Think about that.
Now, I think and this is the same problem that I think Apple will have, is they don't have any content, right? It's really late in the game, and the whole thing with video games is you buy some cool new ones, right? But most likely you're going to buy Madden, right? You're going to buy an EA game. You're going to buy like a God of War. You're going to buy an existing franchise.
When they change stuff.
But here's
even EA.
Once you go to a subscription service, because Apple last month also announced their own gaming subscription service, where all your games on your iPhone, instead of buying each game individually, you're going to buy the service, and then you'll have free access to all the games on the iPhone. And so $7 a month, you're willing to do that, right? And so I think it's going to move to bigger games too.
We'll see. I think that'll be a slow rollout.
Well, and Google's going to try to develop their own games, or they're going to try to purchase rights to use.
I think both.
Okay.
I think it's the Netflix model.
Okay.
I mean,
that would be successful.
That would be successful,
and that will ruin the industry. Just the same way that Netflix ruined the DVD industry.
Well, the industry is basically already ruined, because now Xbox and PlayStation are kind of already doing that. So they're paying, like, you can buy a specific subscription and you get free games.
Right. Didn't PlayStation do this with their PlayStation 3? Like, so if you have PlayStation 4, you can access PlayStation 3 content through their cloud system?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That's exactly what Google's doing.
But the problem with that, and this is the biggest problem with these video game companies, they're not stupid, right? What they know is their content is what keeps gamers. So exactly for Nintendo. Nintendo's never going to give Mario or Pokemon. They're never going to give that to anyone else, because they know that is their bread and butter, right? So you're never going to see that on Google. You're going to always buy the new Nintendo system.
Say that.
I don't think so.
Nintendo's starting to release some of their characters, though. Some of their properties.
But who? Not Mario.
They released Zelda this month.
To what? To other systems?
Not to another system, to a third-party developer. They actually have this third-party developer that came out with this game, and I can't remember what it's called. But Nintendo licensed Link and Zelda and the whole Hyrule world to this third-party developer to create a Zelda game, and it's coming out at the end of this month.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but that's developing for their systems.
Well, at the same time, though,
that's common.
A couple of years ago, Nintendo they signed a deal with Disney too. I remember reading that they signed a deal with Disney.
True, but that's different, right? Because a lot of you can give access to your characters, right? But not specific games that focus on.
They're not releasing the games, right?
Yes.
So, like, for instance, you won't see Zelda on a PlayStation.
No,
right.
Ever.
You're right.
You'll never do that. That's why you'll never see it on Google, because they know that is what's keeping people coming back to their systems.
Right. Well, that's the only reason I bought a Switch was for Zelda.
Exactly.
Right. So.
And it's so bred into our culture now. You're never gonna
But how long can this last, though? Yeah, you say
true.
never,
That's
but
true.
we could have said the same thing about Well,
Very
I guess
true.
Disney ended up just owning their own thing.
Disney just keeps buying other companies, so it's
Right.
like it's not even an argument.
Right.
Disney's a monster.
Well, another thing to think about, you guys were talking about theaters, how they'll never go away. Well, how does VR factor into that?
Ooh, I'm
You're wanting the experience. You're
I'm
wanting the
scared of that.
experience, but what if you can get that full experience just by putting on a helmet?
I guess that's true.
Well, if we
That's scary.
Because you can have the biggest screen, you can have the best seat in the house. If you want audience chatter, you can program that in.
You're talking about Ready Player One system?
We're getting there.
That's nuts.
Have you tried VR lately?
No.
We need to get Justin in here and put you in a VR headset.
I will never get into VR just because I can't do it.
You're afraid of it turning to the Matrix?
Yeah, well, then I'm afraid that I'll love it too much or that I'll get motion sickness. I'm afraid of that.
I see.
That's the thing. I know people that are addicted to video games. Imagine when their whole life could just be lived in a video game.
Ready Player One.
That is it, right? Like that'll be soon.
How soon?
I would say 15 to 20 years.
If
That is soon.
Drastically different.
If that, because the way technology works, like once you kind of get going on something, which they got going on VR a couple years ago, right? It exponentially accelerates, right? Once it gets going.
Do you notice that most of our conversations end in doom and gloom?
We need hope here.
Anyway, okay, well, let's get into the main thing we want to talk about before we went heavy on streaming. Reaction to the new Star Wars. What is it called? Rise of the Skywalker.
Rise of Skywalker. So, if you started at the beginning of the podcast with us, we have given you ample time to rewatch that trailer now, like 10 times. As we said before, Chris barely saw it just a few minutes ago.
Yes.
I actually saw it a few times, and then I also freeze framed a lot of the scenes. So I was like, what is that? What is that? And I think Andrew's seen it quite a few times. So, you wanting first impression?
Yeah, so you go first, and then we'll go Chris, and then we'll go me, and then we'll discuss it.
Okay, first impressions. I'm really excited about this. I think J.J. Abrams is going to put us back on track as far as this last trilogy goes.
Yes.
There was some iconic scenes already, which I want to talk about the iconic scenes. I think they're already showing us a few of them. That's my first take.
I would have to agree with you on getting back on track. I feel like even as much as I enjoyed the latest beginning of the new series or whatever, it just has seemed to be lackluster every time. And the last one, what was it? I can't think right now.
Last Jedi.
Anyway, yes, The Last Jedi. I was disappointed. I was disappointed overall. But looking at this, and there's been so much wondering and so much controversy of whether Palpatine's alive or not. I think for me, the kicker was the end of the trailer, and you hear Emperor Palpatine's laugh.
The cackle.
Like it's actually playing into all of this controversy and this wonder and all of these outside sources saying this could be this and this could be this and this could be this. I feel like hopefully, I hope they don't end it. As much as like they've overdone a lot of stuff and a lot of things I think have been mishandled, I think if they played into a lot of the outside sources, the books and everything like that when it comes to Star Wars, I think they could really, really do something incredible with Star Wars. And I think maybe this might be a movement in that direction.
Okay. That's good. You guys said a lot. So my first reaction was, it felt a little bit like when I first watched the Force Awakens trailer. You felt that excitement because after The Last Jedi, I didn't want Star Wars. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
And I think the fact that they gave us Han too, we had different opinions on Han. It wasn't a bad movie. It just was not. It didn't satisfy the need for Star Wars. But I've kind of been fatigued.
Mm-hmm.
But now with this trailer, it's kind of ramped me up.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm excited for the next one. And as soon as Christmas comes, like I'll be super, super excited. So that's where I'm at now. I was fatigued, but now I am super excited.
I think this trailer, Disney has, or LucasArts or whatever you want, they have signaled that they're ready to tie this thing up. I think they've signaled that they're ready to put a bow on the whole Skywalker saga. And one of the coolest things, I don't know if you noticed, the text on one of the screens on this trailer was, every legend has a hero, or something like that.
Yeah.
That was the same text that was on the opening trailer of one of the first trailers of The Phantom Menace. And so it's kind of like they're saying even though Phantom Menace was developed, after the first 3 movies,
Right.
But it was supposed to be the first movie of the saga. And so now this last movie of the saga, they're starting the trailer the same. It's kind of like this little poetic thing I think they're trying to do here to say we're getting ready to close on this thing. And so I'm excited to see. I would love to see more movies with Rey, and I don't care about the other characters, to be honest. Kylo Ren I do care about, I would love to see more about Rey and Kylo Ren, but to be honest, I'm ready kind of for this thing to just kind of wrap up.
You know my biggest disappointment with this saga has been is there's you can tell there's no clear plan. There was no clear plan from episode 7 to 8 to now 9. They're kind of retconning 8 a little bit. It seems like that's what they're going to do.
Yeah.
Right. But I think that's my biggest disappointment is that they didn't have a plan, and you can tell they didn't have a plan. Right. They were just let's make movies.
See, I so wanted J.J. Abrams to be like this master of film. Like,
You wanted a Kevin Feige.
I wanted him to
Right?
really just have this completely planned out and ready to go.
Agreed.
But the last movie, it's like they took all the I felt so with Force Awakens. I felt they had a plan.
Mhm.
I felt like, oh, this is going somewhere. And then what did The Last Jedi do? It completely took every expectation you had of it and completely
That's
jumped
true.
it upside down.
Yeah.
Right? Rey handing Luke the lightsaber. The first thing he does is throws it off the cliff.
It's almost super condescending to Star Wars fans.
It felt like an insult.
It did. It
Yes.
felt like you guys think you know what you're talking about, but you don't. We'll do what we want with it.
And so that's why I feel like that film is such like a fine line, because at one end I'm like, as a fan of Star Wars, I'm like, it crushed me. At the same time, as a fan of like, I like it when they subvert what they're supposed to be doing, right? Like, I really respect them for that. Like, take everything you think you know about Star Wars and just burn it to the ground, which is what they literally did. That they burnt that temple, right? So at the same time, I think it was brilliant too. I don't think the movie itself was a brilliant movie because I think they went off on way too many tangents.
I think that was a problem, right?
That was the biggest
They
problem.
weren't
There was no
focus. There was no focus at all in that movie, especially with the Canto Bite scenes in the casino. Like, you could have cut that out of the entire movie, and the movie would have been tighter and
Right.
better. But that's not the thing. Now, I'm super excited. Rey seems to be coming into her own in the first shot of the trailer.
Yes.
Right? She hops over. What is that?
TIE fighter.
A TIE fighter. Oh, dude, that was a sick
That was
shot.
definitely one of those iconic scenes.
I think that's the iconic scene. Like in The Last Jedi, you have a scene of the X-Wings flying over the ice planet with the red trail behind them, right?
Yeah.
Or the salt planet, I guess is what it was. That was an iconic scene. You had the scene of the rebel ship going in hyperspace through a Star Destroyer in silence,
yes.
right? The very first, the Force Awakens, you have the iconic scene of Rey going through the old Empire ships, like
Yes.
scavenging through it, right?
Or Kylo Ren stopping a bolt from the rifle of the storm.
Yes. So you have all these
No, that was-
iconic.
And then
Rebel.
you've seen that whoever's doing the
Someone's
Kylo Ren.
Someone's bedazzling Kylo's.
bedazzling. I hope they leave the red because the red looks
His
pretty
helmet,
cool.
yeah,
That looks
it
super
does.
cool.
It does look cool.
And one I think, and this is my opinion, I think Rey's the Emperor's daughter, 100%.
Where do you get that?
And because you see her at the final shot, and then that's where it cuts to the crackling of the Empire. I think all the speculation has always been that she is a Skywalker. I don't think so.
I hope she's not.
I don't think so. I really think she is the Emperor's daughter or clone
I
or
saw
something.
someone on Twitter say, "What if Anakin is a descendant of Palpatine also?"
Like he created him in the Force.
Yeah.
Oh.
What if Rey and Skywalker are?
Because he was a creation of
Right.
the Force,
He was
right?
like an immaculate conception kind of a thing, right?
Basically, yes.
The Force created him.
So do you think Emperor that would make everything better? I feel like if Emperor Palpatine was pulling the strings to create this Force being, that would be dope.
Hmm.
That would make all the.
But why would
trilogy-
he do that? Because he was so sold to the dark side that the Force needed Anakin to bring balance to the Force.
I guess it's fair, but he didn't bring balance. I mean, I guess he did.
He did at the end of Return of the
But
Jedi.
did he? Like, obviously, if they're bringing the Emperor,
Well, there
he
wasn't.
didn't.
So at the beginning of Phantom Menace, there was no balance because there was the Jedi who had their whole religious system going, and then you had the dark shadows of the Sith, which you didn't like. They weren't even aware the Sith were active, right? That's why the
Yeah.
Sith were the Phantom Menace at the time, because they didn't realize that all these planets and all these things were being controlled by the Sith secretly by Palpatine.
Yes.
Right. And so maybe the Force So that's why I don't think maybe Palpatine wasn't involved in that, because maybe the Force itself created Anakin Skywalker
Because they needed a Sith presence.
because it needed to bring the Sith back up into power. I
And
don't
the Force
know.
all along knew that
It needed to bring
he
balance.
returned to the dark side.
But in the end, he turns to the light side.
True.
Does he actually turn to the light side, or does he just
saves
redeem?
Luke.
But that doesn't mean he's light, right? Obviously, he's a Force ghost.
Well, but
But
as
his
a
Force
Force
ghost,
ghost,
yeah.
he's with
He's on the
Yoda
light
and he's
side.
with Obi-Wan.
yeah, but is there no gray area within the Force ghost, or are they purely
That's something
light?
we need to know. Because another question is didn't Palpatine fall down a huge shaft and get blown up in the middle of the second?
Is he a
Death
Force
Star?
ghost or is he?
Is he a Force
Yeah.
ghost? We haven't seen Sith Force ghosts.
That would be dope. We sort of do with holocrons, and there's some Clone Wars where you actually do see a dark Force ghost, but with dealing with Yoda, like I think it's Darth Bane. Is an older character, but you actually see him as a Force ghost because he appears to Yoda.
So the dark side has access to this too, then?
I think so.
Because they were trying. I mean, the whole point of the dark side, the reason they were trying to pull Anakin into it is because they wanted to help him live forever. Right?
Yes.
But they were going through other means.
Well, no, wasn't it that they wanted to?
He wanted to save.
Yeah, but wasn't it not for him to live forever,
Right.
but to protect the ones and manipulate life? I think that was his ultimate goal, right? So he could save Padme.
So maybe Palpatine did know something at that point.
As in he brought himself back.
Uh-huh.
I don't doubt that.
There's also the reason I don't see her as a Skywalker though is because why would you not bring that up the first moment they see her, right? Like she's seen Princess Leia, Han. She's also
Luke.
seen Luke,
Yeah.
right? And none of them are gonna be like, "Oh, this is my baby.
Right.
This is my
Well,
baby."
I'm thinking from a purely like, oh, I didn't see that coming kind of thing. If we get to the end of this saga and she's a Skywalker, I'll be like, oh, she's a Skywalker. There's nothing that'll add to this series if she's a Skywalker.
So Rise of Skywalker. Could Kylo Ren claim to be a Skywalker? I mean, he would be a descendant of Anakin Skywalker.
That's why I think
I'm
it's
wondering-
more on him.
You think he's the rise of the Skywalker?
This is purely
If it's not
my
Rey, who would it be?
my thought is Kylo Ren becomes good, and now Rey finds out her lineage is the dark side,
And
Of
she
the
ends up being
Emperor.
the bad.
and she ends up going that direction.
That'd be incredible.
That would be my ideal scenario, but we'll see if that happens.
Would Disney lose a hero like that, a female hero? Because right now Disney's all about touting their female heroines.
Yeah, I guess that's the problem.
I
That's
don't know
the
if that
biggest
would get
risk.
through Disney.
Yeah, but I don't know why you have to be a hero.
Unless they really build off of what Yoda was doing at the end of the last movie, talking about we have to define a whole new, let those that burn down, let's define a whole new use of the Force. Kind of the idea is what Yoda kind of was talking about, right?
Yeah.
Maybe we go into the gray area.
Well, I don't think that'll happen. What I just said now that I think about it, right? Because even in the opening credits or of this trailer or opening montage or whatever, they're talking about you have all of us inside of you. You have the key or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like it's talking about past Jedi. I think it's Luke probably talking to her through the Force Ghost, and it's like she's the key now. So they probably won't.
Is he talking to her though? Is he talking to Kylo?
That's a fair
Could
thing.
be talking
That's a
about
fair thing. But you would speculate because has all those books from the beginning of the Jedi, right?
Does she?
Yeah.
It all got burned down.
No, it didn't. The tree got burned down and the temple got burned down or whatever, but she snagged those books in the last shot. You see them when she pulls it out and you see all those books of the Jedi.
Well, that's a lot to think about.
Yes, it is.
You excited though? You guys excited?
I am.
Very excited. Wish I was a little bit more prepared for this conversation. But I'm very excited.
It's all right. I watched it like 4 times.
How was your one?
we have 9 months to figure out what Disney's doing here.
That's what when I say like go off in a different direction. I love Star Wars, but I think they've worn out the Skywalkers. Completely worn out the Skywalkers. And if they're going to go in any direction, they need to go in a completely new direction and go to some of the canon and books, and maybe even consider canonizing some of the outside sources or whatever.
So I think that's what they're going to be doing, especially if they're doing a new show on Disney Plus called The Mandalorian, which is a live action.
But do you think
Star Wars
think
show.
that takes place during that time period? I hope it doesn't.
I hope it doesn't.
Yeah.
I'm just so done with this specific time period.
Yes.
Like, there's a giant galaxy, and
Well-
we're stuck shoehorning this
But-
timeline in.
And what makes Star Wars so interesting is the Force.
Yes.
And so the problem that they had with Rogue One, I guess they had the monk
Yes.
in the Rogue One. He's the one that made that interesting because you didn't know what he was about, right? The whole point of the Force, which is what the first trilogy did wrong, or the prequel trilogy, is they tried to make the Force scientific, right? Turn it into a thing with midichlorians and all this kind of stuff. What's so brilliant about the Force is you don't understand it,
Yes.
right? And when you don't understand it, it makes it alluring. It makes it more than just a science fiction. It's a fantasy, right?
Yes.
That's what Star Wars is supposed to be. And so I really hope it sounds like Mandalorian, yeah, they're going to be exploring the Star Wars universe. I really hope they put the Force in there somewhere because that's
Do
what
you
makes it
have
Star
to?
Wars.
I don't know. I disagree. Have you watched any of the Clone Wars at all?
Yeah.
Have you the focus on the story of
I've
all
only
the
watched,
Mandalorian stuff? Like, that's really cool lore.
Right, and I like the Rebels. They brought the Mandalorians into the Rebels.
Like,
too.
they're really
It's
cool.
its own thing, but at the same time, it doesn't feel magical Star Wars. Like Star Wars is supposed to leave you with this wonder.
What I really want is a full fleshed out Old Republic. That's really what I want. Because there are some really cool old
Yes.
books that are just like dope, and you're just like, oh my god, this is awesome. I'd want that. But I get what you're saying. Sith and light side are basically Sith and Jedi are what you kind of come to Star Wars.
Well, and there's so much more with that too.
That's
beyond
true.
The time frame that we're in.
That's
There's
very
a
true.
lot more with that.
There's so much more.
Okay, so for example, look at what Marvel's done with the Marvel Universe,
Mhm.
especially when it was the last Guardians of the Galaxy, and they hopped like 8 different universes. They opened up the possibility of infinite exploration in the Marvel Universe, all the way to Howard the Duck.
Right.
So like everything. And if anybody can take a minor, not well known hero and turn it into a good movie, I think they can.
That's true.
And so with what they have, the capability they have with the Star Wars universe, there's so many more routes and places they could go.
Okay, so
Even just in the Jedi dark side.
last
context.
thing, if you were to have the next set of movies, right? Let's say in 10 years,
Mhm.
they launch a new saga or a new something or whatever. What do you want it to be about? What would your goal be? Would it be separated and you feel this new power come up? Like, you know what I'm saying? Would you see a new dark side? Would you see new Jedi come full force? Like, what would your
I think
dream
they
scenario
either
be?
have to jump way farther in the past or go into the future.
I think so, too.
Yes.
I think, like you guys said, I think we need to get out of the Skywalker era. I think
I think so too.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
I would love it if they go like 10,000 years in the future or in the past,
Yeah.
and show this has all happened already again. Show that history repeats itself even in the galaxy. I think it'd be a great thing.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree with that.
Okay, I gotta get back to work.
I do too.
Yeah, me too.
So let's go ahead and sign off. Awesome conversation.
That was great.
Go ahead
That was
and
fun.
sign us off.
Well, this has been another awesome, gripping, thrilling episode of the Still Moving Podcast. We're going to be back recording more often.
See you in 10 months.
Thank you for letting me have you on the show.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Yes, sir. It was good. It was great. Oh, and don't forget Still Moving Responsible.
This is where we're at. We are the Still Moving Podcast.
Responsible educators.
Tim, we need to have you on the responsible
Yeah, we do.
educators.
All right.
Obviously,
I guess I'm a youth pastor, so I guess I'm an educator.
educator.
All right.
We just get silly on that one.
We do.
Okay.
It's a much not as tight conversation as this one
Was this a tight conversation?
Compared to responsible educators,
We went crazy. we went crazy.
For those of you who stayed with us, thanks for staying with us, and check us back some other time soon. All right.
Adios.
See you later. End stream.
There was literally no one watching.
It's still recording.